Hello friends! Today you'll see how actors of the movie The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey have changed. You'll know their real names and age. I will show you how they looked then and how they look now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Let's go! Thorin, Richard Armitage, also called the Oakenshield or King Under the Mountain, was the son of Thrain and the grandson of King Thror. He was smart and brave. Thorin was the leader of the company which went the kingdom under the mountain to take it back from Smaug. Gandalf the Grey, later known as Gandalf the White, was an Istar wizard sent to Middle-earth in the Third Age to combat the threat of Sauron. He joined Thorin and his company to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from Smaug. He was portrayed by Sir Ian McKellen. Dwalin was one of the dwarves who traveled with Bilbo and Gandalf as a member of Thorin and company on the quest of regain the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. He was the brother of Balin and the youngest son of Fondin. He was played by Graham McTavish. Bilbo Baggins, Martin Freeman, was a hobbit of a shire, the first to become famous in the world at large. Gandalf suggested to Thorin and company that they hire Bilbo to be their burglar in the quest of Erebor, and later fought in the Battle of Five Armies. Boffer, James Nesbitt, was a dwarf of the late Third Age. He is best known for being companions to Bilbo Baggins, Thorin Oakenshield, and Gandalf on the quest to reclaim Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug, along with his brother Bomber and cousin Bifur. The Great Goblin was the goblin chieftain of the Misty Mountains. He was a very large creature with a huge head. He was the chief of a group of goblins who lived in Goblin Town, near the High Pass. They preyed on travelers. He was portrayed by Barry Humphries. Fili, Dina Gorman, were the youngest of the 13 dwarves who set out with Thorin Oakenshield's company, along with Gandalf and Bilbo Baggins, to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. Fili were the most active dwarf of Thorin's company. Frodo Baggins, Elijah Wood, was a hobbit of the Shire during the Third Age. He was a ring-bearer, best friend to his gardener Samwise Gamgee, and one of the 3 hobbits who sailed from Middle-earth to the uttermost west at the end of the Third Age. Balin, Ken Stott, was a dwarf leader. He was one of the 13 dwarves who accompanied Thorin on the quest to regain the Lonely Mountain. A dwarf lord known for his wise counsel and willingness to listen, he was one of the Thorin's closest friends and advisors. Gollum and the Circus, originally known as Smeagol, his life was extended far beyond its natural limits by the effects of possessing the One Ring. He pursued it for many years after Bilbo found it, when he encountered Gollum in the Misty Mountains during. Nori, Jedbrothy, was a dwarf of Durin's folk. He had a brother named Dori and was a remote kinsman of Thorin Oakenshield. His hood was purple, he played the flute, and was very fond on regular and plentiful meals like his hobbit friend Bilbo Baggins. Elrond, Hugo Weaving, is a half-elven, Lord of Rivendell, was one of the mighty elf rulers of old who lived in Middle-earth. He helped Thorin Oakenshield's expedition to retake the Lonely Mountain by discovering and translating the moon writing on Thorin's map. Oin was a dwarf of Durin's folk, known for being a part of Thorin and company during the quest of Erebor. He usually wore a brown hooded cloak when traveling. Oin fought in the Battle of Azan-al-Bizar along with Thorin Oakenshield. He was played by John Callen. Lindir was one of the Elrond's senior courtiers, steward or butler, as well as his right hand. He grazed the dwarves Bilbo and Gandalf, who had arrived in Rivendell, saying that Elrond is not in Rivendell now. He was played by Brett Mackenzie. Kili, Aidan Turner, set out with Thorin Oakenshield's company to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. He is also shown as being some of the more adept fighters. Gilly is distinguished as the lonely member of the company who carries a bow. Goblin Scribe was a royal scribe for the Great Goblin in Goblin Town. When Thorin and company arrived at Goblin Town, the Great Goblin ordered the scribe to send word to Azog that he had found his enemy, Thorin Oakenshield. He was played by Karen Shaw. Bomber, Stephen Hunter, is the chief cook amongst the company of dwarves. His immense size and voracious appetite causes frequent problems. Despite his size, he can be surprisingly effective as a fighter and will betide anyone who makes him late for dinner. Old Bilbo, Sir Ian Holm, was the first Hobbit to become famous in the world at large and one of the few to set foot in the Undying Lands. He was a very friendly and well-mannered Hobbit, fond of food, drink, a full pipe, his friends and good cheer. Radagast the Brown, Sylvester McCoy, was one of the wizards sent to Middle-earth to contest the will of Sauron. Radagast was mainly concerned with the well-being of the plants and animal worlds, and thus did not participate heavily in the War of the Ring. Dori was the dwarf of Durin's Fall. He was described as a decent fellow despite his rambling. He often wore a red-violet coat while on the quest for Erebor. He was noted by Thorin to be the strongest of the 13 companions. He was played by Mark Hadlow. Saruman, Sir Christopher Lee, was the leader of the Wizards and of the White Council. He arrives in Rivendell for a meeting of the White Council. Saruman expresses his disapproval of Gandalf's actions concerning the quest to reclaim the Lonely Mountain. Glowing, Peter Hambleton, was one of the dwarves of Thorin Oakenshield's company. Glowing is the most outspoken and opinionated and is not afraid to challenge authority. He has a tendency to be quick-tempered, but he is also strong, brave and loyal. Yosnake was a fierce orc captain and warg rider. In the film, he is the right hand and second in command to Azog the Defiler, leading his hunter orcs after Thorin Oakenshield and his gang of dwarves. He was portrayed by actor John Rawls. Bifrost has the rusting remains of an orc axe embedded in his forehead, which has rendered him inarticulate and occasionally feisty. He communicates only with Guzul and hand gestures. Bifrost is not related to Thorin. He was played by William Kircher. Bold, Conan Stevens, is an orc warrior which appears briefly in The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey during the Battle of Azanalbizar, fighting Walling and being wounded by him. He is a murderous, callous, idealistic, merciless and cruel warrior. Thranduil, Lee Pace, was an elf from Iatrim. He had golden hair. Thranduil comes to bow to the king of dwarves and shows him some precious stones, but doesn't intend to give. After that, Thranduil breaks off the relations with the dwarves. Ori, Adam Brown, is a talented artist and can often be found drawing and writing in his journal. It is Ori who chronicles much of the journey through the wild to the shores of the Long Lake and the slopes of the Lonely Mountain. Ori is the youngest in the company. Galadriel, Cate Blanchett, was one of the greatest of the elves in Middle-earth, surpassing nearly all others in beauty, knowledge and power. These three lovely babies are certainly not hers, but Cate has her own children. 3 sons, 12, 16, 18 years old, and daughter, 5 years old. Thror, Geoffrey Thomas, was a king of Durin's Folk. Under Thror's leader, Erebor prospered for over a century. Eventually, the wealth of the kingdom attracted the attention of the dragon known as Smaug, who flew south and destroyed the kingdom. Azog, is the Orc chieftain of Moria and is called the Defiler of the Pale Orc. Azog now hunts Thorin and company, having taken an oath to break the line of Durin. He leads a gang of hunter orcs and rides a huge wild warg. He was portrayed by Manu Bennett. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please share it on social networks, like it, and of course subscribe to the channel.